The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the set of my show, The Right Side. Doug Billings here with you. You know, every once in a while I get to meet someone who's really important, someone that you've probably never heard of before, but someone who's really important. These are the people who have answered the call to run for public office and election as conservatives in our area. Today, Syd Marsden is a woman running for the city of Overland Park City Council from Ward 2. Conservative, got great ideas, and I'm happy that she's on the show today. I'm going to let her tell you all about herself and about her campaign, what she represents, and what she's hopeful for with regards to how to turn Overland Park around and set it on a conservative course in our neck of the woods here. So without further ado, let me bring her on. Ladies and gentlemen, The Right Side with Doug Billings and Syd Marsden. Cheers. Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. You know, every once in a while, I get the honor of speaking to a candidate who really will make a difference in the state and in the city, in really our republic in general. Syd Marsden is one of these candidates running for Overland Park City Council Ward 2, for those of you in that neck of the woods in Johnson County. And I'm just eager to speak with her about this. She is up against I affectionately refer to these people as commune socialists, the hard left in our city. Johnson County in particular has been plagued with a county board of commissioners that is just a hard left, woke, agenda-driven, anti-Kansas, anti-American, really coalition of people. And so it does my heart good to see somebody like Syd step forward and run for office. Syd, welcome to the program.
Well, Doug, thank you for having me.
So let's just begin with, you know, I'm running for governor. You're running for Overland Park City Council. I get asked the question all the time, why are you running? Why are you doing this, Syd?
Well, honestly, it would kind of just happened, but I was tired of our city burning. You know, they had just approved an apartment complex. Everything else that they were doing. I said, well, no wonder everyone's hurting. No wonder everybody feels like they're drowning. It's because of the city council. And so I figured I would go in and make some better choices.
You know, that's not too dissimilar from what when I'm asked the question, my first response is, well, you know, actually, I'd rather not, but
Exactly.
I'd rather sit here behind the golden microphone and just do the show. But there's no one else that really that speaks up with passion, conviction, that's not politically correct, that's not part of the establishment, the swamp. And I just feel as if this, you know, the political outsider voice needs to be heard. People who have never done this before, people who do not want to make it a career choice, but who are genuinely called and have that tap on the shoulder, perhaps even from God himself, to say, hey, step in here and help us correct this and get it back. Do you get a sense of that at all?
I don't know about tap, more like Louisville Slugger.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes God uses the bat to slug us in, to knock some sense into us, and he says, get involved.
So. Absolutely.
Your website, I was interested to read. You're a firefighter. You've got your EMT license. You're an educator. You're taking all of that experience and you're going to roll it into this run for Overland Park City Council. What's on your agenda? Like what's day one, week one look like for you when you're elected?
Well, oh, sorry, we just got an Amber Alert. So day one looks like freezing the mill levy. That's my big push right now. Is we have a massive budget. We have a surplus in the budget, and yet somehow we have a massive debt, and there's no excuse for it, and people are hurting in their taxes. The least that we can do is at least freeze this mill levy for 2 years. And I've been talking with the other guys running along with me, and they're like, no, if we get in, that's what we're doing. So I'm like, good. Day one, we're freezing this as soon as humanly possible, just to give everybody a breather. But my points are just responsible development. You know, you got land, you want to make money off of it. I get it, but at least follow the rules and stipulations we have in place. This is Overland Park. You can't just roll in with bulldozers and do what you want here. Number two is public safety. I have an affinity for that little neck of the woods there. And so I want to make sure those guys are taken care of, and I want to make sure our public is taken care of in that regard. And third is community first. Again, we're Overland Park. We kind of like it here for a reason. Let's just kind of embody what we are.
Yeah, that's so you're singing a sweet tune there with regards to mill levies and so forth, especially as it relates to property tax, because I know that that's heavily on voters' minds. The property tax situation in Kansas is absolutely out of control. You're going to try to tackle that?
The best that I can at the city level, 100%.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's we have a group of folks that have been giving me some advice. Elon Musk set the template in place with President Trump with Doge, the Department of Government
Hmm.
Efficiency. I'd like to bring it to Kansas. Maybe you bring it to Overland Park, and we look at what waste and fraud and redundancies there are. And I know now that what people are telling me, at least at the state level, there's about $1 billion that's likely being wasted. And if we get that much money, that could significantly reduce, if not eliminate, the property tax for every adult, at least the state portion of property tax.
Right.
We need, to your point, we need to get in and look at the city and the counties. And I'm glad to see that you're going to be doing that. And you've got other people supporting that, other people running for office supporting that.
Yes, sir, we do. Yep, that's our plan. Because I mean, honestly, how does it support you guys if we don't start it at the local level? So we have to do it on both fronts. We need it at the state, we need it at the federal, and then we need it at the local. We all hit on that point, and we all hit in people's wallets that way. So, nope, other people who are running this election cycle, they're like, nope, we're going to freeze it at the very least, if not reduce it. I'm like, cool, if we can get it frozen, reduce it, get this tightened up, clean this up, that's what we want to do.
Well, that, I mean, I hope you do that. You would be, I think, a template for the rest of the country, really, literally, because if you're able to do that and freeze it, and we begin to attack property taxes at that level, believe me, that'll catch the attention of a lot of people on a national level. And I'm glad that you're inclined to support safety. I know that with your role as obviously a first responder, imagine that a person running for city council wants to support the police. And we don't want to
What?
defund the police. We want to fund them
Yeah.
even more and make sure that they and their families and our communities are safe. It means a lot to
Yeah.
you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. I met with the police chief the other day, and, before that, I had spoken to some officers. I said, what's really on your guys' mind? What's hurting you guys? So I came in with those points. They asked me to do some research, and I did my homework on it. And so I brought it to her, and I just felt like I got the runaround. So there is something obviously going on. I just can't pinpoint it yet. And our boys and girls need help out there, 110%.
Yeah, I've ridden along with sheriff deputies and so forth, and have the highest level of regard for what they do, the way that they put their lives in jeopardy, and we're going to support them too. And then education. You to the extent that you're able to, and the city council. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but we've got to take a look at the curriculums of our schools, the books that are allowed in libraries and
Mhm.
classrooms. It's pornographic on many levels, and we've got to get the woke DEI agenda out. How do you plan to attack and take care of those issues?
Well, you'd be amazed at how much of a tax issue it is with our school districts here. If they just took, if Johnson County just took a look at that, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, the people would get a tax break just from that. It's just a nightmare and it's just a joke. So I'm proud that I'm running alongside the board of trustees this year for our community college. They also take a dip out of that tax pot, and they're all running on, we need to clean this up. Where did this propaganda come from? We're here to educate, not propaganda, not feed things down your kid's throat. We're here to give them an education. And so starting with those guys and working our way down, it's just, okay, if we can get it at the collegiate level, why can't we get it done in an elementary school? I mean, this is ridiculous. Why do kids this young need to be tackling these topics? I need them to know their multiplication tables,
Right.
So
Right.
let's focus on that, and then we'll come back when they're older and they can have those thought processes and then make their own decisions instead of, brainwashing.
And so I assume based on what you just said that the cost of these books that are morally questionable, I'll just put it that way, if you don't want to say pornographic, ladies and gentlemen, but many of them are. So you're saying that if we just simply stopped buying those books, there's a huge surplus perhaps that would save taxpayers a lot of money.
100%. 100%. Absolutely. Get rid of the pornographic books in schools. Do that. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I love it. And I like what you're saying, reading, writing, arithmetic. We talk about reading and writing. I'd like to have schools begin to teach cursive again, Syd.
Oh my God.
I mean, my dad used to have the most beautiful cursive handwriting, and I would like to think that I have a decent penmanship, but kids don't learn to write in cursive anymore.
Mm-mm.
I,
No.
Makes you wonder, Are they afraid that they might learn how to read the founding documents? I mean, what could be the agenda possibly? But it would be good to have it back.
100%. Yeah, no, I don't know if quite honestly, I don't know if they thought that far ahead for an agenda, to be honest with you. I think they just ran out of time just trying to give them the wrong books to read. Just like, well, there's only so many hours in a day, I guess. So we'll cut the cursive and give them the transition books. So I don't know.
What about, as I read about test scores in Kansas, there's certainly no shortage of money that these people have been given. I look to Topeka. I'm a former school teacher as well, so I have a master's degree in curriculum instruction, and used to teach high school. I understand, but I also think that parents and school boards at the local county level ought to have more control over what the curriculum is in schools. Where do you stand on that in trying to rescue the classrooms from a radical left woke agenda as far as curriculums are concerned?
Well, it's funny that you say that you used to teach in high school. I used to be a paraprofessional in elementary school. And so that's more the angle that I come at it.
Yep.
So for your audience that may not be aware, paraprofessionals are the people who go into the regular classrooms and kind of help kids with learning disabilities and help with their classwork. And so that's my experience. That's kind of the corner I come from. And I had to quit that job just because of the government corruption in it. And it just leads to the abuse of these kids, and it sickens me. So that's more the angle I come from. You're coming from it, and the parents need control over the curriculum for their kids. I come from the angle of, well, parents need control of who's teaching their kids. It was policy. I wasn't allowed to meet parents, and yet I was spending more time with these kids than any of their instructors. And these parents had no idea who I was. I was like, could you imagine if I had something else in mind?
Well,
could you imagine the things that I noticed? So.
Right. You strike a chord that's near and dear to my heart, because it's just, and ladies and gentlemen, Syd and I have not met prior to this interview. We barely spoke 4 or 5 minutes before the interview started, because we like to have just kind of a conversation that's unrehearsed. So Sydney, I have a 22-year-old son who went through the Olathe school districts and graduated from Olathe South. He's 22 years old now, and he has Down syndrome. And I know very well about the para situation and about the dedicated men and women who spend time in the classroom with these kids. And when I juxtapose his experience in high school with mine when I was a kid, I never saw anybody with Down syndrome when I was in high school. They were always sequestered away. But today they're integrated, and they're in the traditional classroom setting. Michael's thriving. He went to Johnson County Community College. He works at a place called Possibilities in Olathe. Yeah, and
I
he's
know
just
them.
doing great. So I
That's
tip my
awesome.
hat to you. You are. I mean, look, what you mean to those kids and what you mean to parents is probably something that you're told of, but I'm not sure if it's said enough. You're doing God's good work, and with those kids, I tip my hat to you.
No, I absolutely love that job, and thank you for getting so involved. It's incredible how many parents just don't know, even with kids in those circumstances. So that's the big push, is get parents more involved and give them the resources to be involved. So thank you for doing that for your son and then for us and being in our corner.
Well, it's important that we, as conservatives, sometimes we get a bad rap. We're labeled by the radical left as the party who doesn't care about people who have intellectual disabilities or physical disabilities. But yet I believe that it's our agenda that lifts people up, that helps that agenda. And we don't pollute it with books or paraphernalia that is immoral or borderline pornographic or overtly pornographic. We try to lift these kids up, and we give them the resources they need. Certainly people like you and me running for office and having experience with these kids, we can speak to parents, and we can talk about how the radical left is putting forth nothing but myth and misinformation with regards to our love for these kids.
100%. Absolutely. No, if anything, it's the liberal agenda that's hurting them.
Yeah, by the way, as people want to learn more about you, Syd, your website is Syd, SYD 4, ladies and gentlemen, the number 4, OP.com. Is that right? Did I get it right, Syd?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You've got it.
Syd4op.com. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you head over there. Support Sydney in her run for this very important Ward 2 Overland Park City Council seat. You can get information about her at this website. There's ways to donate and contribute to the cause. If you want a yard sign, I mean, there's all sorts of things you can click on to volunteer and help her out. I encourage you to go to Syd, SYD 4, the number 4, OP. as in Overland Park, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri.com. Thank you very much. I love the poster. I love the conservative values. I love the way that you're going to bat for first responders, keeping Overland Park safe. One thing is on a final note before we say goodbye, one thing I liked on your website is that you want to put the park back in Overland Park. What do you mean by that?
So in Ward 2, we have this big fight right now, and this is just one example of what I mean. We have Blue Jacket Park. It's over in the Oak Park HOA. It's on the north side of my district. And they have gone forward as city council and decided to close this pool because it had a bad leak. So the community said, that's fine, just give us our pool back because it's easier to demo and just build new. They said, no, we're giving you a splash pad. And our people are livid. They're like, well, our big plan from over a decade ago from people in Colorado recommended that we should just put in all these splash pads and only have like 2 or 3 really big aquatic centers. And I say, no, I'm a firefighter paramedic. I can't tell you how many kids I have worked that have drowned. And if you have 3 really big aquatic centers, how many swimming classes are you removing?
Yep.
No. That's not happening. And the community is livid. There's the Save Blue Jacket Pool Facebook page. I've spoken to several of the members. I've spoken to the Oak Park HOA, and we're trying to get this pool back. I have dug into it. I'm trying to figure out, okay, why did they close it? Oh, the cost is too high. The cost is too high for a local pool, but we can have a $34 million farmers market.
Right.
No.
Right.
Exactly. So no, we're getting a pool. I will figure out how to get this pool. We're getting a pool because people move to that HOA for this pool. And more people I talk to say, well, we just want a safe place to be with our kids. I'm like, imagine that. And the place with park in its name, you want a park to go to with your kids. So that's what I'm standing for. We're bringing back what makes Overland Park, Overland Park. We're bringing back a pool, we're bringing back parks, and we're bringing back safe places for families and kids.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm loving it. Syd Marsden. Look, Syd, when they hear that, I mean, I can't imagine people don't get excited and get worked up. But tell us again, give us your name, where they can find you to support you, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. It's Syd, SYD, 4op.com. My name is Syd Marsden, running for Overland Park Ward 2 City Council.
If there's anything I can do, Syd, from either the show perspective or from whatever perspective, if you need some support out at an event, let me know. I'm at your service. We've got to pool our resources and help other conservatives get elected. I'm always happy to help, and you always have a friend over here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Syd Marsden. You can go to Syd, the number 4, op.com. Check it out. Get information. Donate. We need, we'd like to think that money doesn't win elections, but we need money to help pursue and put forth the cause. Syd, good luck to you. I'll be cheering for you.
You as well, sir. Good luck.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This is Doug Billings. We're in this thing together, folks. Believe it. For Kansas. Cheers.
Okay.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield, electromagnetic pulse. Electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen, it can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code Doug.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.